Hi. You go through this before you go on a trip? What bag to take? This one, that one, this one too? What camera to take? What lenses to take? Well, I'm going on a trip and I'm going through that right now. So, stick around. Hi, I'm Bill Booz and this is Photography and Technology Tools, and the topic today is preparing for a trip or packing for a trip. Like most photographers, I have a bag problem, and I've actually narrowed down my bags, the ones that I actually use, fairly nicely in the last couple months. I had this Think Tank Retrospective 30 that I got last year that was a nice bag. The material is a little heavy, but on one hand, that's good in some ways. But as far as carrying things, it's not great. So I am pretty much decided I'm not taking that. Although at home I store things in it, and then I have my VanQuest Skitch 12 that I got after I got the Think Tank bag. And I really rather like this. It's a tactical bag, so it's not really meant for cameras, but it is roomy and it's resizable, so to speak. So it's nice to, I can pack it down to its smallest size, and it's in the small configuration. It's just about that big, and when it's all packed up, like it will be to go on this trip, I normally can close it down kind of in the mid-range, and VanQuest calls it small, medium, and tall, like that, so that's not bad. This is tall, and I have never had an occasion to use that, so that won't be an option. But, so what I'm going to do today is go through my gear and decide what I'm taking and what I'm not taking. And I'm trying something a little bit different this trip, because even when I went to Germany, it was somewhat in October and was somewhat cautious about what I took. I still had more than I really needed. So we're going on a trip that's going to involve some time on a ship, and so I've got that in mind. And I've made decisions on cameras and lenses. And the other bag that I have is this Lowepro Streamline 250, which has this nice zipper that allows you to expand it to get a little bit more space. But when it is closed up, and I move the inside inserts a little bit, I can compress this pretty nicely, and I pack it in my checked bag. So this becomes my day bag when I get to the destination I'm going to, and my Skitch 12 will be my transport bag, if you will. So I use this, fill it up with the things that I want to make sure I have with me to use at any given time during the trip, and it becomes my transport bag and my storage bag. So when I get to the hotel, or sometimes we rent an apartment, in this case we're going to be on a ship, this stays in the cabin or stays in the room with the things that I'm not using that day. And I've already taken things out of all these. What I have decided is, and the issue is typically, well, I better take that just in case. So the just in case scenario gets us in trouble. We take a lot of things. In fact, I've even changed the just in case from last night when I started videoing this, and to this morning when I decided, nope, I'm not taking that. So let me tell you what I've got here. I'm taking my it's a used camera, but it's new to me. This Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II, and I've got the 12 to 40 lens on it, which is a great lens, and I find when I travel previously with the EM1 that is recording this video, I have this on 95% of the time, and that's what I use. So it gives me a 12 to 40 range, which in 35 millimeter equivalency is 24 to 80. So that's not bad. And I was going to take, where'd it go? I was going to take my little Panasonic GM5 with its, I think it's mostly the kit lens for this camera, the 12 to 32, These are both Panasonic items. So that I was going to take, because it's nice, I can throw it in my pocket, but most of the time that I'm going to be wanting to take pictures, I am going to either use my EM5, and other times I can use my iPhone 7s because or 7 Plus. It takes fairly decent pictures, especially if I use one of the stabilizers that I have. So Panasonic GM5, staying home. But I am going to take this lens because it is a nice small lens. So I need to put a lens cap on that. My body cap lens on it until I find that. I don't want to risk getting dust in here on the sensor. So I'll put that off to the side. And this could go on this lens. But you can see that when I have this lens on this body, it's kind of hard to see because it's black. When you have this lens on this body, it makes this kind of small. So that'll be handy. We'll put that over there. So we've got the EM5, and we've got the 12 with the 12 to 40 and the 12 to 32 lens. And then the other lenses that I'm going to take are the Panasonic 35 to 100. And this is the F4 to 5.6. So it's not a real fast lens, but it gives me some range. So I'll have 12 to 100 covered, which is 24 to 235 millimeter equivalency. And the only prime I'm going to take is this 45 millimeter, and of course the body cap lens. The 9 millimeter body cap lens is kind of a fun lens to play with. And the way I have these packed is I've got two body caps like this, and glued them together, and that allows you then to back-to-back carry two lenses. And they fit nicely in these Domke wraps. This is an 11-inch Domke wrap, and these are great little paddings for almost anything. You can wrap a camera, you can wrap lenses I'm doing now, and that protects them nicely. Now I need to store that one, so really what I need to do is put this in here back to back with these two. Too bad I don't have a triple, huh? So if I do this and roll this down, you can see how this expands nicely to whatever you want to pack it. So I have all three lenses right in that little container. So that's that, and my camera. The other item that I'm going to take is my Olympus TG Tracker camera. I did a little video on this recently, and it's a wide-angle action kind of camera, and I just thought it might be fun to have that. And the nice thing about this is the charging cable for it is a micro USB, and that's the same as what I use in my Kindle, so that'll serve double duty. I can use that same cable. I try to conserve so I don't take more cables than I need. In the past I've taken so many, and you know, if one can do three things, there's no sense to take three cables. So that's the tracker. That's going to go. And in the camera arena, of course, I have my iPhone 7 Plus, and I'll have that. And I use that. I expect to use that to take snaps as well as taking some video clips, because I want to try some travel video production. The other thing is this Nissan i40 flash. I love this little flash. It's very compact, and it's reasonably powerful for a small flash, and it worked really well with these Micro Four Thirds cameras as far as size goes. And I'm taking a small flash bender that works nicely on this flash. Whoops. And with the flash bender, these flatten up very nicely. I have this add-on that makes it the reflector or the deflector kind of like a softbox, and so that's nice. And along with that, I have this beer cozy that serves nicely as a snoot. So you can put this on here and it directs the light. And it takes no room, and besides I can use it with a soda or a beer if I choose to. So that's going to go. The flash is a nice little package that contains a stand for it and a little diffuser that accommodates the batteries for it. I use these rechargeable batteries, and they are Sanyo XXX batteries. A couple years ago, when I was a Canon shooter, I bought Silverina's handbook for Canon shooters, And the chapter on batteries was excellent. And what I learned from that was this is the type of battery. There are many different types of rechargeable batteries and regular batteries. And this particular Sanyo XXX battery is rated for endurance, if you will. That is to say, if you're the kind of shooter I am with a flash, I might use a flash once and then not use it for a month, 2 months, or whatever. And then I might pick it up and use it daily for a while, and these batteries hold up pretty well. But the important thing is, if it sits in my bag for a year and I don't use them, they supposedly will hold up to 85% of their charge. So that's nice if you're not a constant user of the batteries. Okay, so that's the flash. And then, of course, there are cables. I said I have the cable here that'll work with my Kindle, and with a micro USB, and this is another kind of USB that works perfectly with, I wear hearing aids, and I have this device, Bluetooth device, that when it's turned on, I can receive the audio signal from my iPhone or my iPad or anything really that sends out an audio, and it goes into my hearing aids, so I don't have to wear earbuds. And I have a little microphone that I put next to the television at home, and that amplifies the sound for me so that I'm not always saying, what do you say? So that's handy, and this is a nice small item. And these are all USB cables, and I have this Anker wall plug that plugs into the wall and has 4 USB outlets on it, so you can charge 4 things at one time. And I love this item. I also have one of these that has a power cord on it. I'm not going to take that because then that's a power cord I have to worry about. So I have this under control. We are going to be in a ship for part of this trip, and so I'm taking these European plugs because I know from experience on going on ships before they cruise in the Caribbean and in the European area, and they cruise in the Caribbean as well as in the Mediterranean, and so they oftentimes will have the European plugs in the cabin. So I gain another plug by bringing these European plugs, which is a good tip for anybody who's going on a cruise, so I can use it that way. So I have this, and I have those, and of course I have my little Eagle Creek red bag. This is my, not really an emergency, but it contains extra SD cards that I store in an old film canister, and I have batteries and other accessories for my hearing aids. I have Band-Aids and some medicine. I have a little flashlight. I have a stylus for my iPad. A little flashlight. Got a little extra cold shoe here in case I need to use that. Pencil, etc. And of course, I have regular earbuds as well that go with my iPhone 7. So I have this little adapter that came with the iPhone 7. That converts the Lightning to a regular 3.5. Okay, so that's those things. And then for my iPhone, or for anything really, I've settled on, I have lots of different holders for my smartphones and cameras, little tripods and so on. And this is the handle pod, and this I'm finding I really like the most of all the things that I've gotten. You can set it on a surface, such as this, and attach a camera. This turns around. I can attach a camera to this. If I want to put it on a pole and take pictures, I can do that. I can put this up against a pole, and then it's got this expandable strap, and it will secure it to the pole or to a railing or whatever. So it's really a very handy piece, and all of my other things work with it because it's a 1/4-inch screw. So I have my shoulder pod, which I've talked about in a previous episode. And this is for my iPhone, so my iPhone goes in here, and it helps me to stabilize the iPhone if I want to do video. The bottom comes off, and it reveals a 1/4-inch port that I can plug into here, so I can put my iPhone on that as well. So that goes, and I have a holder for my iPad, should I want to use that, and this will fit on there as well. So that's useful. I talked about several camera holders the other day, and one of them was this. I'm taking the shoulder pod with me, but I'm not going to take the Joby Grip Tight POV kit because it doesn't have a 1/4-20, and it's just, it's small, doesn't take up much space, but I only need one, so I'm just taking this. But the nice thing about this particular kit is that it came with a Bluetooth button that if you pair with your smartphone, you can fire your smartphone to take pictures. So I'm taking this, I have to be careful I don't lose it. I'm taking that so I can use it with my smartphone to do a remote shot if I want to with my iPhone. This is a little holder for my iPad or my iPhone, a little stand, which I like. The nice thing about this is it has a separate setting so that it angles the iPad in such a way, and I'm using an iPad mini, but it will work with a regular iPad as well. So it's easy to type because I type on the keyboard on the screen, and I expect to do some typing on this trip. So that's going, and because I have these rechargeable batteries for this and for something else I'm taking this this charger, a rechargeable battery charger. It's a little bulky, but it's easier than taking the big piece that I have that plugs into the wall. This plugs in, you know, it has no cable, it just plugs in like that. So that's handy. That's just in case I need that. Sunglasses, extra pair of actually clip-on sunglasses on my, I hate to wear sunglasses, so I had these clip-ons and I use those. And I have decided that since this doesn't take up a whole lot of space, I'm going to take my Saramonic wireless mic and transmitter, or mic receiver and transmitter, and I have some rechargeable batteries that go with that, 2 in each one. It fits nicely in here, and with this, in order to use it with my iPhone, I need to use this special cable from Rode, which is a TRRS out or end that will work with an iPhone. Since I have an iPhone 7 Plus, I need to use the adapter, so I attach that to that, because right now that's the only place I'm using this, and then this goes into the receiver. So I'm going to put that in here, and it comes with a microphone, so that's all ready to go if I choose to do a little video recording while I'm on this trip. I want to be ready, and that's really all I need. I also will sometimes take this small recorder. It's you know, it is very, very small, but it actually has great pickup. And you know, I don't do podcasts, so I'm not doing interviews, I'm not doing you know, kind of talking to myself, recording things, but I might want to do that. Or when I've used it mostly is recently, you know, when on my trip to Germany, you know, I went on a city tour with my nephew and his wife, and I recorded the whole tour on this recorder. So that's nice. I can listen to it again. It was in German, so I could listen to it again and try to understand those things I didn't understand at the time. And likewise, when we're taking tours of on this trip, I might want to use it. So again, something that doesn't take a lot of space, so it's going to go as well. I have filters, so I need to go through those and make sure that I'm not duplicating those. And I have this, say, small camera bag that I think I got free when I bought something from Adorama. It's an Olympus, for a small Olympus camera. And since I'm not taking the Panasonic, this carries my battery chargers for the Panasonic and for the Olympus cameras. And the nice thing is the OMD EM1 that I'm using to record this and the EM5 both take this, Mark II, both take the same size battery. So that's real handy. And I use Wasabi. I have the original batteries, plus I have Wasabi batteries. And because I got some batteries when I bought this used camera, I have probably about 5 or 6 batteries for the OMD cameras. So I can take the Panasonic batteries out and the Panasonic flash out and just take my flash or my charger for the OMD Mark II. And something I just read, I don't know if it was Derek Story or somebody else shared on a post an article by F-Stopper about airlines and TSA cracking down on the things that you have in your carry-on as well as the things you're putting in your checked luggage, and batteries was the main item. So the batteries, the issue is, and of course it's all because of the Samsung battery blowing up, but the issue is that you securely pack the batteries so that the contacts can't touch each other. So I need to use Ziploc bags or something else because they are floating around in here. I was thinking of something last night that, see inside here there are little pockets And I can put my batteries, and maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put my batteries in these sleeves, and that separates them. They're too big for these, but I can put them in a pocket like that, so, and with nothing else, and then they won't touch each other. So maybe that's the way I'll carry the batteries this time. But normally I put them in this bag, and they fit, as I said, quite nicely. And then I have the small flash that goes on the EM5, and I may use it as opposed to using the Nissan i40, or I will use it to trigger the i40 when I use it off camera. And I can use, I have this selfie stick, which I'll take too. I may or may not use with my iPhone to do selfies, or I actually could put that EM5 on here, I think. But what I like to use this for is I put the Nissan flash on it, and it has I have a hot shoe. That's why I have that hot shoe adapter, or cold shoe adapter. I can put this on here, and I can actually hold this off camera just like it's on a light stand, and use the small flash to trigger the Nissan. So that's a use for the another use for a selfie. So this is the flash, and that can go in here, and the Panasonic batteries stay, and the batteries for the OMD go in here, and I've got a little bit extra space. I might want to put something. Maybe I'll put that cable in there for now. So that's those things. And one other item that I always take with me is this Anker power brick. It's actually, it looks like a very large lipstick holder, or lipstick, but it carries a good charge, and I have to charge it with this USB cable, and I can connect my iPhone to it, or I can connect my iPad to it, and it charges that up very nicely. So it's nice to have if you're out someplace remote and your smartphone goes dead. Alright, another item that I always take with me is my Houdini. This is one of those a Patagonia raincoat that folds up inside its pocket, and though it's not terribly warm, it does the job of breaking the wind a little bit, and if it's raining, it does keep you somewhat dry. It will get soaked in a hard downpour, but this with a sweater usually is all I need when I go to an area where it's just going to be cool and not terribly cold. So that again is collapsible. One other thing that came with the Retrospective 30 is this rain cover for the Retrospective 30. So if I have room, I usually stuff that in my Sketch 12 and can use it because it'll fit nicely to cover that if I'm in a downpour and want to protect the so then the issue is packing. And the nice thing about this Sketch 12 is it has two end areas that take mollies, these little sticks that'll hold molly straps, and so I have a little bag on the end, on one end, that holds put a stylus in here. I actually have a paper notebook with a pencil and a mechanical pencil. I can put my stylus in here if I want to, and that's probably a good idea. And on this end, I have a VanQuest roll-up pouch that, as you see, is quite small when it's rolled up like that. But when you open it up, it could take this large lens actually, and hold that, or a water bottle, or just a plastic bottle of water. So I like to have that attached. So this is when I'm traveling on the plane, going through the airport, and so it's handy to have that. It has a back pocket, and that's where I keep the reflectors in my little snoot, because it's nice and flat. So that goes in there nicely. And then inside, since this is not intended for camera gear, it doesn't have any dividers inside. It's totally open. And I'm not sure how much you can see through the camera, but it's just an open bag. So what I use is one of these ape cases, ape case, They're really handy. They come in different sizes. This one is, I'm not sure what the size is, but this is one that has worked well. And it actually can pull that up and close it. So you could use this as a storage bag as well and take things out of your big bag. I've never done that. I always just use it for transport. And it has dividers, and it has extra dividers really. So I've got it divided up so that it'll accommodate my cameras, and then make sure it's going to work for this. But it fits inside fairly nicely. And another reason why I like that, so that fits down the bottom, and it still leaves maybe a fifth of the space at the one end. And it turns out that that's perfect for this little Olympus camera bag that goes in the other end. So that fills that out. And then I just put my, I stack things in here, I put padding on top of things, and I'm good to go. So that's the way I will pack that up, and I won't bore you with the packing. There are, as I said, I had my red bag, but I also have a black and a green bag that I use, and I'm not sure, I don't think I took this last time, but it has a couple of items that I want. This is a SD card reader for my iPad, so I do want to take that. And I am taking this battery tester. If I buy batteries or even the rechargeables, I want to check and see how much power they have left. This is kind of handy to have. And I take an SD card. So this is empty, and sometimes if I go abroad and I buy a SIM card for my iPhone, then I take the SIM card that belongs in the iPhone for home, a Verizon card, and I put it in a plastic pouch container like this so I don't lose it, because I need it when I come home. So that is what that's for. Now the other thing, I took the body cap lens off, I put it onto here. In the meantime, I found a body cap lens, so that goes on the Panasonic. So this 9mm BCL is really a nice little lens, and it is tiny, but it's fun to use. So I'm not sure if I'm going to take this green bag or not, but for right now I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to keep the body cap lens separate, and I think I'm ready to go. I need to get packed, and then I need to go pack my suitcase. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention. Some years ago, Derek Story of the Digital Story recommended this Lollipod tripod, and you can see it expands to about 4 feet or so. So it's not huge, and it's not for heavy stuff, but it works fine with an iPhone attached. And again, I can use my shoulder pod attached to the quarter screw on this, and or I can attach my OMD EM5. And the nice thing about the 5 versus the 1 is it is a little bit smaller. And even though I have the grip on it, it's still smaller than the EM1. It's a little bit lighter. If I really want to get a little bit more stealth with it, I guess I can take this grip off. All the grip does is just give you a little bit more heft here in the front. But anyway, back to the Lollipod. So the Lollipod is a British tripod that is fun. It's not cheap, but it is fun, and the nice thing about it is it folds up fairly decently. I need to get that a little tighter. And it has its own little bag. And when folded up, it's only about 9-10 inches long, I think. And will fit right in the top of my stitch, or Sketch 12. And if it doesn't work, if I don't want it or put it in there, I can always put it in my check luggage. So I think that's it, and I think I'm ready to go. So thank you very much for stopping by. And if you found this interesting or entertaining, it is a little sick that this kind of thing can be entertaining to photographers, talking about what you're going to pack, what you're going to take on a trip, but it is. Then please, I'd appreciate a like. And certainly, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And a follow-up on this when I come back from my trip. Did it work? Did I take the right stuff? Should I have taken the Panasonic? Should I have taken the 75-300? Tune in later and find out. Thank you very much.